Welcome back again, friends, to Tactical Enlightenment. This channel is dedicated to showing you not only the most titanic battles in Bannerlord, but also demonstrating advanced battlefield tactics and field command to help you dominate your own game. Alright again, friends, welcome back again to Tactical Enlightenment. This YouTube channel is dedicated to showing you huge battles in Bannerlord and then giving you the tactical tools to win your own huge battles as we continue with our campaign story that's providing all of these gigantic battles in which we can display and demonstrate some of the tactics I've picked up over the many months of playing this campaign. Just to give you a quick campaign overview of our situation right now, of course it is pretty dire. These last videos here have all been shot chronologically in order, as I've tried to do with most of the series. I'm now up in the former Sturgian territory up here. We made an invasion. I effectively decided that this center area with Epicrotia as my capital, although it's holding out now, is simply not easy to defend. I mean, none of it's easy to defend, but the enemy was making inroads on all 3 or 4 different sides. We were being attacked from the north. The brunt of the force has been coming from the west and the south, the Blandians, the Asurai, and of course the Khazate from the east. So what I did is I decided let's take a few cities up there, because there's that land bridge, that only access to it, and so that might make it a little easier to defend, right? I can sort of concentrate my realm and defend it a little easier. Nevertheless, I am concerned about Epicrotia. At a minimum, I want to go back and relieve Epicrotia of the supplies and some of the very high-end equipment that's there, and it's already under siege. I'm actually surprised it took this long for it to become under siege. Fighting everybody on the whole map, sort of inevitable that they were going to besiege the capital, and I am also concerned that they're going to be sieging in this direction as well. So we just got off a fight with the Khazate here. Our force is not at full strength, simply because we've been leaving garrisons at Varnavapol and Balgard. But we do return towards Epicrotia with an army almost 1,500, and of course we have our elite units still in tow. We've been suffering a number of deaths in recent fights, but I would say we still have about 40 veterans with this army. I mean, strategically at this stage, obviously it's becoming a very dire situation, right? We're up against 8 different realms. I don't have any other lords that are supporting me. We have no minor factions that are part of our kingdom. Part of the reason for that, of course, is if all your enemies are controlling the minor factions, you never see them wandering around where you can then pay them to join your faction. This keep and this city both have decent defenses. 600 men though is not enough for me to like steal from their garrison. I can add a couple of lords here. That'll make my force a little bit bigger to help the defense at Epicrotia, but we're still talking, an army under 2,000. I have a good bit of the nice quality armor with me, but as a rule of thumb, I like to keep my best equipment, stuff that I put new children as soon as they become of age, right? We deck them out in extremely elite armor and weapons, and I've kept most of that at Epicrotia. So that's part of the mission here, is to grab that gear, pick up all the stuff that's really elite, and then transfer it back up to either Varnavapol. I haven't decided yet, Varnavapol or Balgard. This land bridge is what I'm talking about, though. Any enemies that want to attack my 2 cities up here are going to have to come through this land bridge, and my thought is that it'll be easier to defend a single access, right? Like if your house only has 1 door, it's much easier just to stand there with a shotgun and tell anybody who wants to come in, the door's open, come on in, right? And it should be something that you can handle. Epicrotia has almost 1,200 defenders, but that's mostly because there's a huge militia there. And you see there's 250 garrison. I can't really steal any of the garrison there, so our army size has dwindled. I have 400 there, 600 there. And this is what I mean. See, enemies have to come across this land bridge, so I should be able to intercept them before they can get to our new heartland. So looked like a Battanian force. It disappeared all of a sudden. There they are. And okay, the tide is rising here. 29. Holy fuck. 31, 41, almost. That's over 5,000. So this is a very difficult decision at this stage. I've got Epicrotia here that's probably going to fall to siege if I fall back. I don't have more reinforcements I can call in the short term. This is it. This guy's 11 hours away. He's probably on the other side of these armies too. I can either retreat here, fall back to Varnavapel, in which case I'll probably lose Balgard, or I can fall back to Balgard and maybe I can pick these forces off. But of course, if they attempt to siege me there, you know, we lose a lot of our tactical advantage. You can see my army here; it's pretty stacked. At the bottom, there's some scrubs. You know, I've got some tier 3, tier 4 troops, but I think, you know, I think no guts, no glory. Fuck these motherfuckers invading our territory. We got our shotgun here. We're at the front door. You motherfuckers want to enter our kingdom?
Pleasant surprise.
You're gonna pay for it. Obviously, seriously outnumbered here. It's about 5,000. Yeah, 50, 5,050. You know, so we're outnumbered. Worse than 3 to 1. But we have our elite units. We've got a nice big handbag full of tactics we can break out on the AI here. And give this a shot, but they've attacked us here. I can't retreat, so this is a battle to the death, and an awful battlefield for it too. There's not much tactically that can be gleaned from this battlefield. I don't have any. There's almost no terrain advantages. We're downhill from the enemy. The trees are actually in the enemy's favor because they'll be sort of hiding in the trees, absorbing some arrow shots. There's this far back ridge. It's a little tiny bit of elevation, I guess we can use. Sometimes the back of the map is your best spot to set up simply because your reinforcements will come in where you are. But here, that's a small condolence. So not too much that we can glean from this. So we're going to have to use our tactical tool bag here to fight off this large force. It'll depend on what the composition of their army looks like, but we'll probably do a combination of shield wall and distractionary squares. And then, of course, concentrated attacks with flanking attacks. I've got a 7th cav. There's just a handful of guys and some horse archers. I've got a good amount of 2nd and 3rd cav, so I'm going to use one of these guys as a square. Usually I use the 3rd cav because that has a captain with a banner that they take less melee damage, right? So they're even more impervious to a bunch of angry melee guys swinging their pike axes at them, right? They're even more defendable. The 2nd cav, I typically like to use to charge, but we'll use them as a defensive line at the start of this. My 1st infantry is one guy, I guess it's a gal actually. And then I have our 8th Corps, which we'll use here on the flank. But our 8th Corps is also going to be used dynamically. We'll have them fly in to make concentrated attacks. We'll have them at times make almost suicidal attacks on the enemy. We'll see what this enemy force consists of, and can see our strategy will probably change based on what they do. I might move our troops back further because, again, reinforcements will at least arrive close to us. Can't tell. They've got a lot of archers, 230 archers. They've got a huge cav division and a small cav division. That's interesting. Usually the computer does pretty bilateral cav divisions. I wonder what that's all about. And they have horse archers, but I can't tell how many yet. I mean, we're fighting, what is it, 4 kingdoms, right? So that's the thing. They have a lot of strong units from all different kingdoms. There's Battanians, so they're going to have Battanian Fiend Champs. There's Imperials, so they're going to have Imperial Elite Cataphracts. In my opinion, probably the best cavalry. And I think there are Valandians as well. Valandians, of course, have very good cavalry as well. So I'm going to send my horse archers off to start, just to sort of counter their horse archers. Their horse archer is a small group. So this is like 20 guys here. We can just skirmish. You can see I have almost all Khans guards in our horse archers. It's only, 15, 12, 13, 14 guys. But at least they're good horse archers. And there's their main vanguard. It looks like a huge block of infantry, and it's a mixed group, about 200 each, of infantry and archers. Their cav is coming in here. We're going to prioritize attacking this cavalry early on because it looks like their infantry is going to come in a little slower than their cav. So I got that cav division, that's the 3rd division in a square, and we're going to be attacking these guys as they come in. I want them to commit though. I don't want them just doing hit and run attacks because I don't want my guys pursuing them into the enemy archer fire here. Okay, they got one tranche that's kind of taking a deeper attack here on our left flank. We're going to attack these guys aggressively. Fuck you. This is our kingdom, motherfuckers. At this stage, of course, you know, I love doing some swearing. We're role-playing here, right? This is a crisis of my own creation. I can have peace with these kingdoms anytime I want, but we're going to continue fighting this all-out war against the rest of the map for the foreseeable future. To this stage, we've been able to sort of just barely hold on. That guy's head fell in my lap, right into my handbag of souvenirs. Where's the enemy infantry? They are not advancing yet. There's a handful of them. I think those are just dismounted cavalry. So I'm going to send some of my cav here kind of aggressively. Second cav can be sent to charge in on their cav that's sort of skirmishing here. Can wipe out their nobles. Yeah, their infantry division, as of yet, unless I missed it, it's not advancing. With their infantry division, I'm planning on kiting. I'd like to kite them as far as possible from their archer support because they have such a big archer support. I don't want them having archer concentration fire while their infantry is attacking. So when their infantry comes in, we'll be backpedaling. I don't have a lot of infantry really to even backpedal with, but they're probably going to attack our archers. They'll prioritize the greatest threat, and when they do that, we'll backpedal a bit. Try to get you know, a version of the kill box or Hannibal's formation at Cannae, right? We'll be doing a bit of a inverted crescent to basically try to surround the enemy at that stage and kill them. They started to move, it looks like. I'm going to continue to work on this cav division though, because if I can weaken their cav divisions to the point where they can't support very strongly, that'll make it much easier to handle their infantry vanguard. 280 guys, so that's a lot. We're going to have to soften these guys up on the way in. You see them heading in the direction of my 5th Archer Corps. They're also heading towards one of our squares. So hopefully we can tie up a bunch of their units with the square. Right, the square, some people call that, when you're using a square, distractionary square like that, a false gap. You know, in this situation, I think it's purely distractionary. I'm actually ignoring their infantry right now while we try to push their cav off, and then we'll circle back and handle their infantry. If I can have their units sort of separated. Again, I want their archers out of the fight and minimize their cavalry impact while we attack their vanguard. Then we have a much better chance of destroying it. Everywhere I look, there's another enemy lord. How many of you fucks do I have to behead? Die, you bastard! Alright, sending in that cav division over there to sort of distract. That guy got obliterated. I don't know what happened to him. Their infantry's taking a beating. I can tell from the death spam that they're getting hit by enfilade fire. Some of our 6th and 8th Corps is off to the side, just pounding them in the back. And now it's time to kite these motherfuckers. Okay, they're sort of wavering. They're going back and forth. We're going to bring our 5th Archers even deeper up this hill. And then we can attack them with concentrated force. I might even have these archers. Most of these archers look like the Britannian Fiend Champs. We're going to have these guys charge. And then I've got this 3rd Cav division that was in a square distracting a moment ago. And now I've called it to us, and it's told to attack as well. Finally, I have this other Cav division. I can drag it through their infantry and just sort of try to knock these guys on their ass. You can see their numbers are really dwindled already. They were at 200, and now it looks like there's a scattered 80 or 100 here. I've got my 8th Corps in there rampaging. And the 6th Corps, of course, is throwing javelins as well. You can see just dragging my Cav through these guys. It's trucking them, it's knocking them to the ground. And it's largely dispersed. I'm going to count on those archers in the 8th Corps attacking them to finish them off while we move up here. A lot of times in battles like this, when the enemy gets reinforcements, their archers will reform. You know, they'll retreat to where their... Yeah, that guy got killed right in front. They'll retreat to where their supporting infantry is, but these archers, it's, you know, it's like 200 guys. They're kind of hanging out. They're just shooting at us. It's always nice when they drop javelins and a good shield for you. It's like a little store where you can just pick up all your stuff. Their archers are not reforming. These insolent motherfuckers. Might be time to take some action on their asses. Right now we're just engaged in a range battle. I've got my horse archers counter-firing. You notice I've got my shield wall of cav here. I just needed a horse. Put those guys right back on the horse. They do have infantry coming up, but it's not very numerous. I think it's going to be time to plow these fucking archers. It's a big, long, spread out line, so I'm going to have to send in units off to both axes, off to both left and right sides as we go in. It's 343 archers, though. I think if we rush this behind a wall of steel, we should be able to do some major damage here and disperse them. At a minimum, disperse them, maybe even kill half of them. When they reform like this, it looks like they're reforming to their infantry. Of course, I like to fly in. You can get 5-10 kills with almost no risk, right? These guys are all running, they're all moving, so we're just coming through here, just getting free kills, essentially. Our forces are moving up. They have a very small amount of infantry. I haven't really named this tactic, but it's basically a shield and shock. What we're going to have is our two cav lines and shield wall just plowing the road for us. And what I mean by that is absorbing arrows, right? We're going to be charging 300 archers. They're going to be shooting at us like crazy. And then as they plow the road forward, we can come in behind them with our Battanian Fiendchamps, other 8th Corps, 6th Corps, some of our elite infantry units. There aren't a lot. We don't actually have a lot of infantry at this stage. You know, traditional infantry, but I do have Battanian Fiendchamps and 8th Corps, and then a handful of 6th Corps with very strong weapon skills. Now they're vulnerable because a lot of them are two-handed, right? Hence the shield and shock part of it. But in this case, if they're behind a big line of heavy cav, right? Your noble units, your Imperial elite cataphracts, suddenly you have a very potent combination of powerful melee protected by very thick, very strong infantry. Now they got infantry moving up first. We're going to handle this. Their archers have pulled back. So scratch those plans. We got to deal with this infantry. It's a small infantry wave though. And what I'm doing here now is I'm sending my cav up in between the enemy archers and this infantry. I'm isolating this group of infantry so that we can fly in here and destroy it. Right, their archers aren't providing any support now. They're firing every arrow into our horses, into our heavy cav units. Those guys are all on shield wall, so we may lose a few of them, but those guys are going to do a really good job of holding the fort, so to speak, while we murder their infantry. We actually outnumber them here. Between Battanian Fiendchamps, 6th and 8th Corps, we probably have 100 guys. So even in a battle, we're hugely outnumbered. In this situation, I've been able to outnumber the enemy here by dividing their forces up. They've got a small amount of weak cav here, just sort of floundering about, and we'll kill them in due time. You see my 6th and 8th following me as I move up. Okay, it's time to go. They don't have support right now. Their archers don't have support. I got to talk quickly because I got to make these moves quickly. So their infantry or archers there are in a big long line, 328 guys. We're gonna run behind them here. Now I got to run with my units because otherwise I'll outspread them. Right, they're on foot. I can't move up too fast here. I'm going to lose some cav moving in. But I've got the 2nd and 3rd cav plowing the road. You can hear them being pounded by arrows. I'm going to now spread them out, 2 different lines. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send my archer corps to both sides. 4th to the left and 5th archers to the right. 6th and 8th, we're following the heavy cav, and into battle we go. As soon as the archers reach those archers, hopefully they don't take too many arrows to the face, those guys will be told to attack as well. And suddenly we've negated their archer advantage. Archers are now all in melee against our angry 6th, 8th, and elite archer corps. I'll split your skull. In we go. Now these cav divisions, I can send them to charge. They did an excellent job of blocking. The enemy's either charging here or regrouping. I don't know what's going on, but we're going to kill everything that's moving. And it's just a screen of green. 300 archers just being immolated by our elite infantry. I like to grab a horse when the enemy's regrouping like this because, again, just like earlier, you can get 6, 7, 8 kills with very little risk while these fucking pussies regroup. I can see the death spam. My unit's taking care of business while I ride down a few of their horsemen here. And we have the momentum here. It's time to move up. A lot of times in battles like this, it's strange. It's hard to describe. It's hard to explain it even. It's almost like the chemistry between a man and a woman. It's difficult for science to explain it. But you'll get battles like this where the enemy starts to sort of rout and get disconcerted. They look literally uncomfortable with what's going on. And you can keep that momentum to yourself by just pouring in on them. It's like their morale is broken or starting to break. And you can just make it worse by running their guys over, beheading their troops, and then showing aggression. So we're going to move units up here aggressively. A lot of our units are probably injured at this stage, although we did have a pretty clean massacre there. I'm going to bring up again. Oh, I've got infantry reinforcements. This is even more beautiful, and they're already in our midst here. I'm bringing up archers behind an infantry block, and what we're going to try to do this time is use that rock on the left as a flank anchor. We're going to sort of hide behind that with some of our elite units, bring up our heavy wall of steel here. I'm going to try to intercept these cav here. And then once those guys are holding the center, then we can attack on the flank and hopefully destroy this second or third, maybe it's the third wave of the enemy here. So those cav are doing a beautiful job of holding the center there. Right, again, a lot of those guys are elite noble units. Now I want to bring the 4th, 5th, and 8th Corps over here to our right, our left flank. See this opening here where we got a little gap? I'm going to push them through there, and we're going to try to rampage on the enemy through here. Again, a lot of their infantry's tied up on our main shield wall there. Now these are tough archers. It's not like I can just plow through these. But with the 2 archer divisions, the Britannia and Fianchamps, they're just being a little slow to catch up. We could push in, though, on these archers and really cause major damage while the rest of their troops are sort of tied up on our shield wall cav there. In we go. Signal the attack. These guys won't attack sometimes unless you tell them to attack. Get your cavalry out of my fucking face. Time to get fucking savage on these motherfuckers. They're already regrouping. Each time they regroup, it's a tactical victory for us. That means that we wiped out 200 or 300 guys, and obviously we've only gotten one small batch of reinforcements. We've kind of got a skirmish here. They're not fully regrouping. They're half regrouping. They're half fighting and half regrouping. Again, it's time to maintain the momentum here. The only way I can describe this is like in the Animal Kingdom sort of thing. If you're in the water with a great white shark, you know, you'll see videos where people basically tell you, swim towards the shark. Don't swim away, don't panic, don't sit there. Swim toward the shark aggressively, and if it gets close enough for you, start swinging. Swing at its face, swing at its eyes, at its nose, because what that's doing is it's signaling to an animal that doesn't speak English, you're superior, you are an alpha male, you are not food, in fact, you're a predator. And generally, when that happens, like I've seen videos of it, sharks, tiger sharks, they will flee. Oh, this is beautiful. Their troops are holding back, and these cav, all they did is charge our cavalry. I hope they stay back. If they stay back, we'll attack them with our infantry here. Look at, we can use this rock wall and hide behind their own troops, their own enemy cavalry. I can bring all my units over here and just tell them to destroy these piled up cavalry. Again, these are the kind of things you'll notice once you've played 50, 100, 200 battles in Bannerlord. You'll see opportunities like this is basically a mistake. The enemy has pinned themselves against this rock, and they're not letting their other troops support. Right, they're all piled up here. So now what we're doing is closing our infantry here and telling them to charge, right? These guys are all now surrounding the enemy, and it's fucking massacre city. The enemy's all stacked up, and they're getting destroyed. A lot of these are our original tranche of units. I mean, we've taken some losses to be sure. I'm sure I'm probably down most of the 6th and 8th Corps, but we are destroying this force. This is an abusive battle right here. Look at, we pushed right through them, and the enemy's there sort of paralyzed. They do have archers spread out, but that's not going to help them, because I just spread out our infantry right in their face, and now we're going to be able to move, let's see, it's 43. We've got about 60 shock troops left that I'm going to be able to pull around on their flank here, outflank these guys again, and totally fucking make them panic. 7, 8, 10. I've got about 10 guys left of our elite units. That's enough, though. Now, you're no longer on a horse, dude. You're in the water now with great white sharks. You see how this flank over here is open? The enemy's holding the center there. I've got a line of shield walls pouring at them. We just pour in on the flank here. So I want to pin their center down with that main infantry line. I tell those guys to charge. And before their archers can disperse, we're going to pour in here on the sides. And we're going to take losses. Like, a lot of these guys are seriously injured at this stage. But we can just mangle these archers, right? We're coming in on their soft units. We're not attacking their wall of steel. They did shift a lot of their infantry around. But we're going to continue to try to force this momentum on the enemy here. Cut off some more heads. Morale's going down for every beheading. Okay, their archers are starting to spread out. That's troublesome, because those guys are going to be able to draw a bead on us soon. In battles like this, in situations where your enemies, or your allies rather, are down to sort of their last 30% health, it's better just to have a suicide kamikaze attack like this. These guys are just going to fight it out till they're dropped. I'm not going to join them, because I'm probably going to have to reform the lines here. We're a long ways away from our reinforcements, although they got a nice head of steam going on. Remember what I mentioned earlier, it's almost like the enemy realizes that we're the great white shark, and it's the prey source. Fuck it, we'll get in here for a little bit of momentum. They just popped up a huge line of reinforcement. So I gotta be ready to bail out of here, but we'll fight with our men in this last little glory charge here. Fuck yeah. Soft infantry, or soft archers in our faces. We can rip some limbs off. Time for me to seek our reinforcements. They just popped in. So in this situation, I want to leave my units on attack so that all the units catch up. If I try to move them back too soon, a lot of those guys will get destroyed. Now that most of them are dead, we can start focusing on the reinforcements here. I want to keep the momentum, though. I want to keep this enemy thinking that we're the great white sharks here. I don't want them for a second thinking that we're the ones that are afraid. I mean, they still badly outnumber us. Look at, there's like 30 guys, 20 guys that made it out of there. A few more guys here are trying to retreat. That's probably my 8th Corps being destroyed. The last couple guys there. Look at these guys are trying to get on top of the rock to shoot at us. They're going to get shot off their rock is what's going to happen. I've got a nice line of archers now in place. Archers in place, and I can spread this infantry out right in this little low spot. Well, they'll be able to intercept a lot of the enemy units. Get my archers put up on this little ridge here. Every single time you can get a little bit of elevation, take advantage of it. I made fun of their archers climbing the rocks. It's actually a pretty smart idea. You can see that guy on the rock out there. You know, he's actually doing a good job. Like, he's got some elevation. He's got a little sniping spot. He's more vulnerable, but you know, he's getting better line of sight. I like it. I might go recruit that guy if he's only wounded in this battle. Okay, so this is a classic strategy too. I got my infantry line just holding the line. They're just in shield wall, and I'm just plowing through them from behind. Right, these units a lot of times they're distracted. They're sort of infatuated with the shield wall line. And with my two-handed axe, I can kill like a dozen guys before they even realize what the hell is happening. Okay, they got cavalry that just poured in. We're very far from our reinforcement base. Someone kill this fucking guy. This fucking guy swinging his baseball bat at me. Let me show you a real bat. So we got a giant scrum here. Of course, we're seriously outnumbered. This infantry is going to get overwhelmed eventually. But I have a big line of archers behind him. And I'm hopeful that big line of archers, let's see, 8, I just got reinforcements. I might kite with these guys. Kiting's a skill that almost any player, even a newer player, can get used to, can develop and add to their tool bag. The biggest key with kiting is understanding the situation. If the enemy has a huge amount of cavalry, you can't kite. And if you're in this situation here where you want to kite, and I do want to kite, there's one option. You can do a square. I can move these guys back and tell them to form a square. That'll eventually mean that they're in this nice tight-knit group of units with shields up, and the guys with the shields will be on the outside of the square. Guys like Battanian and Fians will be inside. Your weak archers will be inside. And those units will be more protected. You can see them forming their knot right now. It's about 80 guys, and they're forming their square. What I can do is just protect them very briefly here in this square while the enemy pursues with cavalry. And then as soon as they have a moment, when the infantry's coming up or there's a break in the action, we can have these guys pull back. So I've got infantry moving up. They're kind of coming up slow. These guys must be getting extra rations or something because they're fucking moving like they've ate too much lately. Okay, here's the moment. Their cav division just pulled away, right? You can see their cav division pulling away and their infantry's moving up. Now's the moment to spread these guys out. So we're going to put them out behind on that little ridge, spread them out in a big long line. And this is something I've just started doing more recently. Frankly, I've learned from the enemy. When you're being overwhelmed by a big line like they have, spread them out in a big long line like this, and you'll see how effective it is. Just watch. Take off a few more heads here. So these guys on the edge, I want to protect. These guys on this far right flank, it looks like the left flank, the enemy's left flank, our right flank, I want to get these horses off them so that they're free to fire, because that now 60 or 70 guys who are completely untouched, they're going to be able to hammer the enemy as they come in here. Got a line of infantry in the middle here, and they're kind of concentrated. What that does is it concentrates the enemy forces. They do have some archers here kind of around the edges, but watch these guys shoot. Look at the death spam. These archers are pounding everything in sight, and I'm basically just going to join them on the ground here. I don't have any javelins left. I'm not going to grab a bow and arrow, but anybody who comes to try to molest these guys, I'm going to attack. And we may kite more. You can see just the darts flying behind me. I can come in here by myself and cause major damage because I have this arrow support. Anybody who attacks me is also going to be shot at. I'll take your javelins. Behead your ass, take your javelins. You can see him doing major damage. These fucking stubborn infantry. These guys are tough sometimes. I actually find these Imperial trained infantry to be tougher sometimes than Legionnaire. I think that might seem strange to you, but they have javelins. And their ability to throw a javelin at your neck, to me, makes them pretty nasty units. And speaking of nasty units here, I've got a handful of infantry I can charge with and just barrel right into these motherfuckers. You know what? Let's move our archers up in a shield wall too. I've got a lot of archers that have shields. Let's push right into their archers here and then just go lay waste with them with our axe and our infantry right behind them. It's always nice to remember that especially your crossbowmen really do have multiple utility purpose in a battle like this. They can be very solid defensive troops, right? You're not going to send them in and just waylay the enemy and destroy everything in sight. But with units behind them supporting them, they're very effective. Look at all their crossbowmen are all jammed up with their cav divisions as we steamroller through. So none of their guys can get shots off because their fucking horse or their cavalry's in the way. I'm sure they're like, get out of our way. Okay, I've got more reinforcements coming in. I'm going to start to kite with these archers. It's not letting me. I hate it when it does that shit. No, I don't want them attacking the enemy. Fuck. So I'm going to have them follow me, and then once we get clear of this mess, we're going to spread them out in a big, long kiting arch, just like we were doing a second ago. Our infantry's charging into their main archer line here. Their archers are spread out, but not very well. They're kind of in a tightly packed mass there. Okay, here's where I can start to flank with their archers. These guys are moving in slow, but I can give them some distance. Because the enemy is sort of infatuated and involved with our other units here, I can bring these archers out on the enemy left flank. It's a little bit of a downhill slope. Get these guys spread out. Get the fuck out of here. Get these guys spread out, and we can talk. That guy got shot right in the face. And we can get these guys spread out in a big long line. Look at these guys coming after me like there's a fucking ransom. You guys want your fucking ransom? Come get it. You lose your arms beforehand. Let me know if you collect. Okay, my archers are coming out behind me here. I've got a shield. There's some archers on the other flank. Get the fuck out of here. Punch them in the face. It would be cool if you could come in here and just taekwondo some of these motherfuckers. Come in like the equalizer. They're taking some fire, but they're also sending fire on their own. They're a little too bunched up. And of course we're outnumbered. In a battle like this, we're basically outnumbered every single step of the way. I've got reinforcements coming in, but they're taking forever. Let's see, 90, 100. Some of those units are quite a ways away. I'm going to keep moving them back. We're kiting here. We're buying time because our reinforcements are en route. Right, I'm going to have our reinforcements sort of intercept these guys on the way. So I've got our reinforcements heading in this direction. I've got archers kiting back. I can support some of my archers that are retreating. It's one of the most devastating things you can do is to follow troops that are following your units. You got to be careful about where you're standing. But these guys are so intent on attacking your troops that you can just massacre them en masse. Must have beheaded 20 guys in this fucking battle. Fucking asshole hit me right in the face with a knife. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't even know why I bother with javelins. When you got an axe, you can kill a guy every other second. Sometimes it's not worth your time. It's more effective against guys that are holding shields, right? Where your axe isn't going to be as effective. Now I got horse archers, a cav division. I have hardly any infantry, but I've got this very strong archer division. We're going to continue to use this on the enemy flank here. I say the flank because the enemy's still fighting units in the center of the map there. So all of these units, we're getting kind of shot to pieces by their archers here. Gonna wade in again. All of these units are sort of shooting to the side of the enemy here. See me do this sometime. I'm going to use these cav in an infantry line here. They're going to be sacrificial because they're facing a huge amount of enemies that are coming. But I don't have the infantry to hold off this big group while these archers go to work. I've got an infantry line of a handful of guys, and then this cav division, formerly cav division, that's now standing in as infantry. Put them right in the face of their archers, and we can do some work behind them. Anybody that's attacking them, we can cut down. The archers are getting clean shots on them. We're at a difficult stage of this battle because I'm not sure how many more reinforcement waves I have. Those that follow the channel know that I don't bring up the status bar that shows how you're doing in the battle. Oh shit, that's a lot more reinforcements coming. Let's kite some more. We're going to keep moving back, right? We're going to make the enemy come to us. That buys us some time. You got to be aware you're going to take some arrows on the retreat, right? So I like to kind of try to come in here and be a target. I see people getting dropped. I hear a lot of their shields are getting hit on the back. That's a nice advantage of retreating with your crossbow, is those shields will absorb a lot of the arrows meant for their face. The infantry division over there is getting immolated. I mean, I knew that was a likelihood. But in battles like this, I'm never really sure of whether or not victory is likely. The little power bar that's on the top there, it's not very effective, right? It doesn't really tell you the true story because it's not always accounting for what reinforcements are left. I don't know if we're out of reinforcements at this stage. I've had battles like this where it got down to like the last 50 guys on both sides. So there's a sense of drama. I actually enjoy that drama. I'm purposely fighting this campaign that's on extreme difficulty because I want the challenge. I want that drama. I want that suspense. Some people just like steamrolling everything in sight and conquering their map. You know, that's fine. That's what you want to do. Have a blast. But for me, I want the extreme challenge. I want the highest level of difficulty, and I think it provides like the most interesting battles for me. Biggest level of challenges. My hands are starting to sweat. In battles like this, I start to get. It's half the heat of battle, but it's half like just nervousness, anxiousness, right? If I lose this battle, we're all captured and we're in bad shape. They're starting to really pour in on our archers here too. I mean, it's a fucking. This is a total slugfest here. This guy throwing javelins at my face. Sometimes you just want to go in crazy. You go in crazy style. I modeled this character and his grandfather as berserkers, and the true berserkers, the Berserkskurgen, I think, or something like that. They were, of course, Vikings and/or some of the German tribes. They would fight with no armor. They would come in just rampaging, literally like bare-shirted. In fact, I think one of the original terms for the word means either naked or half naked, and they would just come rampaging into battle like in a total fury, almost like a trance. And because of course they were lightly armored, they'd be able just to move very quickly through the enemy ranks. And I'm sure it was done in large numbers, right? One guy would just be shot with arrows and that would be it. But of course in Vanderlord, if you have high enough athletic skill on your own, you can just rampage through the enemy sometime and cause great casualties. So I just got reinforcements. You noticed I used both the pullback and the halt position. The more you play, the more you want to become familiar with all those different commands because they all have some value. If your archers are in too deep or your infantry's overextended, you want to be able to give them the command to fall back. Similarly, you want to have units be able to stop on the fly. The stop command is very important sometimes. For example, if your archers are running and they're being attacked by cavalry, what you don't want them to do is stand still. Or excuse me, what you don't want them to do is keep moving. So I've got one cav division here, by the way, just in shield wall. I've got units behind them in shield wall, infantry unit, and we're going to push in on the side here with horse archers and just sort of charge these enemies from the flank. This is like the 5th or 6th time in this battle I've tried to turn the enemy flank. Very effective, of course, because it means you're attacking the side of the enemy. Right? They're very busy with the shield wall formation there, and our guys are going in just fucking waylaying them. The fucking guys are tough. A little more berserker action here. These units are reforming. That means their shields are going to be pointing towards us. And fucking get stuck in there. just to finish a point that I was saying earlier, these guys are fucked. They've gone back and forth again, and they have no support anywhere nearby. And we have lots of archers here just to mop these guys up. To finish the point, though, if you have archers that are moving 40, 50, 100 guys, and you see cav sort of running them over, you want them to be in spread, right, which is the old F2, F3. You want them in loose formation. But then you also want them to stop running, because if they're running and the cav is attacking them, that means the cav is getting plenty of attacks on them. They're being knocked to the ground, and none of your archers are really doing much damage, right? They're swinging weak little swords at them. You want those guys to immediately stop right where they are and start shooting. Anybody with a free shot will then unload his crossbow point blank at cav, at whatever is in his face, right? So the point of all that is the more you play, you want to make sure you're using all the different commands that are within the game, right? I don't use circle very much, but I certainly use square, line formation. I'll use skein on occasion. I find skein not very effective as cav. I've tried both in battle, and skein doesn't, unless you have a long charging range up to your enemy, skein doesn't seem to have a lot of effect for your cav divisions. But you want to be able to use all those different formations. So here the enemy's kind of down in a ditch, and it's advantageous for their situation here. The only thing that we can do for it is flank it. They've got like 600 guys in that flank down there, or excuse me, in that trench down there. And the advantage of that is that we don't really have good line of sight to shoot at them. You can see they're shooting us with arrows, but what we can do is the same thing we've done this whole battle, and that's turn the enemy flank. Flanking is probably one of the single most important skills. If you're not doing it in your form of Bannerlord, you want to practice it. Right? You see, there's 600 plus enemies there in a big old pile, and we don't want to attack them completely on the front. We want a strong unit towards their front, and then bring in units from the side here, even if it's 50 guys, because what they do is they're attacking a lot of their weaker units. Their archers are actually towards the front, so we're charging with our infantry division, which will push their archers towards the back. You see their archers running now, but they're being pushed right to where we have other troops. So now they don't know what to do, right? In real life, archers wouldn't know what to do either. They would have enemies sort of all around them with enemy infantry charging them down, right? If they stop to shoot, they're fucked. They're in a hurting way no matter what. Now they're trying to gain a little distance here to shoot, but again, what I can do is I can use these swing a punch. What I can do is I can use these cav divisions to put them right in their face so that they can't shoot, right? So now the enemy's sort of enveloped again by our forces, and at this stage we have better troops than the enemy. They have a lot more troops than us, but because we've kept a lot of our elite troops alive to this stage, we've still got tier 4, tier 5 troops, and the enemy's at tier 4, tier 3 and below. Now that we're here, this is where the old F1, F3 is totally appropriate. You want every single guy going forward fucking totally roaring their battle cries into battle, just charging. I've got a good enough health that I can just wade through here like a fucking berserk skirkin. And we can see if we can make the enemy rout soon. I feel like they're close to routing. That's a good sign. They look like they're routing right now. They're still trying to fight though. I see them still holding shields, holding swords. So these units haven't routed quite yet, but they're imminently routing. I mean, that's about 4 or 5. Those guys are routing for sure. Look at them running sideways like that. Guys running sideways are heading for the exit. These guys are probably routing. They're running in different directions. Sometimes that means some troops are routing and some troops are reforming. Our archers are just shooting them in the back, just lighting them up. I just heard one guy say, "There's no hope! There's no hope!" Yeah, you fucks better run. Bring more troops next time. 5,000 wasn't enough. They're like half defending, half routing. You see when they're holding their weapons up when they're fleeing, that's typically a sign of units that are considering reforming. And I've said it ad nauseum. I know I say it a lot, but I'm just emphasizing the point. When you have enemies that are considering routing, make sure they rout. pour in on them, come in aggressively, kill as many guys as you can, act a little bit recklessly if you can. I've got enough health that my horse is about to die, but I can wipe out a few more guys here, sort of push that morale to the point where they're just like, fuck this. I'd rather go be a blacksmith again. I'm done getting destroyed. Now they're heading out of here. We can't stop them. I promise you, if I was this force of our foes here, 3 guys in a row beheaded, I would be throwing my weapon to the ground and saying, I give up!
Runners! Charge! Charge! Mount before the line!
I don't think there's anything else coming. This is a do or die battle in this situation. Of course, we do or die. We did what we had to do. We deployed our big bag of tools, our tactical tool bag, and we put on another ass whipping here. I mean, that was outnumbered worse than 3 to 1. And they're the ones fleeing the field. Now it's just a matter of time. I think maybe they have 1 or 2 units that are still fighting out there. Otherwise the battle would be over. The campaign continues. Of course, the difficulty on it just gets more and more extreme almost every episode. People who've been watching the channel for a while probably get a feel for it, that we're reaching a breaking point. Our armies are getting smaller and the enemies are getting bigger, but we remain we remain unbowed. We're not giving up in this battle. We're going to fight it out to the last. And hopefully along the way there are entertaining huge battles. Hopefully people watching who are newer to the game are learning things, help them conquer their world. I appreciate everybody watching at this stage. I mean, these are like 45, 50-minute battles. You guys are pretty hardy. I don't think I could listen to myself talk for 20 minutes. So I appreciate all you guys. Thanks for all your support on the channel, all your comments, subscribes. I really appreciate it. The community's grown pretty fast. We lost another family member in this battle, but such is the price of victory. We lost 1,000 units and killed, disabled 4,400 of theirs, and some 400 or 500 fled. This definitely counts as a resounding success. As usual, I release all these nobles. Maybe one of these episodes I should just behead them all, right? Maybe that would make things easier, but that's part of the reason look at, there's no fucking troops again. I can't remember the last time they had prisoners that we were able to take into our army. The point of it, though, is that the whole campaign is purposefully at extreme difficulty. This inventory they're giving us is not really of any great use. At this stage, we have all the money we can possibly have. So we're going to continue this campaign as long as we're upright and still fighting. We're going to head our way to Epicrotia here. We're going to continue to try to expand our kingdom and form a Sturgian territory, and see how this plays out. I'm struck by how this battle actually reminds me of the Battle of Beresina. The Battle of the Beresina River was a battle that Napoleon fought. And maybe at some point I'll do a historical analog for this video. It's an amazing situation that Napoleon got himself into. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please leave comments, all that stuff, if you're interested or want to know more about something that happened in the battle. I appreciate all you guys, and thanks again for watching. I'll see you friends next time.